What's up, man?
How's it going?
Are you tired of today?
It's been a long day.
It's been a productive day. Literally, you come to our office, you shoot a video, you go to a project, now you're doing a podcast. I mean, what can you say? You were expecting all this stuff or no?
I was expecting half of what I got, so
Okay.
yeah, you doubled me up.
Oh, perfect. Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
Brad King, I'm up in Big Bear. I sell real estate up there and flip homes, do some development, which is why I came down to see you because you're the development king down here.
I guess I am. Well, I just know everyone that develops.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't even know how to use a hammer, to be honest. Like things will break in here, and I'll have to call my handyman to come in and fix it because I have no idea how to do any of it.
See, I grew up in the trades, building houses.
Because your dad was doing that, right?
Yeah, he was a GC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that so? How long have you been doing this for?
The real estate or the GC?
Both.
So I started, remember, my mom got so mad at my dad when I was 10 years old. He took me to my first job site, and he had me using a chop box. And he taught me how to read a tape at 10, and he would shout me measurements, and I was just cutting stuff as a little kid. My mom got pissed.
Oh, because she's afraid you're going to cut a finger off.
Exactly. But no, it worked out well, and so for the next 15 years, that's all I did, learning that, and then got into real estate because it went hand in hand. And so now I can do both sides of everything.
Do you ever feel like you get too torn? Like you're not, like, like guys like Alex Samosi say, like, focus on one thing. Do you feel like you get too strained apart?
You can if you're not careful, but at least with this, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You can't sell a house unless you have someone build the house. And so if I know all the inner workings of a house and I go through it with the client, I can tell them what's, most of the time what's wrong or what needs to be fixed to kind of give them an idea on it. And so it goes hand in hand.
Do you guys do the whole thing? Like, I got a girl named Megan out here that does it, like, where she'll go into a property and, like, say, hey, we can list at this price, or we can fix it up and then sell it and then, like, take the profits of it and, like, they fund the flip, basically, and then sell it. Do you do that or no? This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor who puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show.
Are you talking about, will I buy it from the
No,
client
like they
that?
don't buy it from them. What they do is, like, they'll go in and say, hey, we'll fund the rehab, but then we split the profit of what it's made.
Like a concierge service kind of thing. Yeah, so I've never done that. I'm tempted to do that. I know Curbio does that for a lot of people too, but I know the prices are a little inflated compared to what you would do.
What it costs normally.
Yeah, exactly. But no, what I will do is I'll go through it with them and say, okay, you can sell for this or you can sell for that if you fix it up.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, okay, well, how much is it going to cost me? People usually don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'll kind of, run a little net sheet and be like, okay, well, if I was to do it, or, from my experience, this is usually what X, Y, and Z would cost. And then we'll give them that option.
The hard part is so many of these houses, like, people hit me up and then be like, oh, and I, like, look at it and I'm like, it's like, normally it's not like, oh, let's just do one bathroom. It's like, basically you got to gut the whole house, and then it's like, is the headache worth, like, it's going to cost me $50,000 to do everything. Cool, we make $70,000, so we make $20,000 profit. Is it even worth the headache of doing it?
That's the big thing, because like most of the time you go into these houses, they've lived in it for 20, 30 years. And it's not just like, oh, just the kitchen's outdated.
It's
the
everything.
house is outdated. Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, and then you're like, God, is it even really worth the headache of doing it?
Have you ever lived in a house trying to do construction and stay in one of the part of the house and fix the other part? Yeah,
no,
it's a pain.
I've never. I grew up in one house as a kid. That was it. My dad we never redid it. Actually, that house just sold, and it's literally the same as that house.
Exactly the same.
Same as that house, and but yeah, no, I've never done anything. It's just like I always hate is when you have clients like that are contractors or they do their own work, and I'm like, this is never gonna get done. I had one time I sold a guy's house, and we went there and there's a hole in the roof, and I was like, what happened? He's like, got a leak. He's like, I'm gonna get to it. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, how long has that been there for? 6 months. You're not getting to it. I said, I'm gonna have my guy come over and he's gonna fix it. And he's like, no, dude, I got it. Listen, dude. I know. I assume your wife has been yelling at you for 6 months to fix this. You haven't fixed it yet. We're just gonna fix it. And then we fixed it for him. He's like, dude, you're so right. I've never done it.
Well, I know growing up, it's just like the saying, the contractor's house is never done, right? And so my dad, when we were young, he built us his house. It's like a 4,000, 5,000 square foot house.
In Big Bear?
No, this was back in North Carolina when I was a kid, really young. And we still had plywood stairs the whole time I lived there.
Isn't that
we
crazy?
moved out. Yeah, we were there for like 10 years.
Well, the thing is like this. It's like for us, like probably the same thing happens to you. It's like you go to a barbecue or you go like out, and then like people are like, hey man, what's going on with real estate? And you're like, dude, I really don't feel like it. Unless, are you trying to buy or sell right now? No, okay, then let's just move on from that. It's like, I assume it's like, dude, you don't want to go home and work.
Well, no, because you got all your tools out and put everything. Yeah, no, it's a pain in the ass.
And you just did that all day long.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man. I mean, that's always like the struggle when you go into like houses that do need work. It's like, and then the worst part about it is like, then it's not, there's not even that much money in there as profit to like sell it. It's almost like, or for someone to flip it. So it's almost like we just have to bring it up just to sell, almost break even, but just at least to make the property more desirable.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're gonna discount it, it's not worth it.
It's not literally worth it for anyone, especially right now. I mean, shoot. I think that's like what's really bringing home prices down right now are the houses that are just trash and people want like crazy numbers for them. It's like the investor market's gone. No one's buying flips right now because the market is softening. It's like the houses that need $50,000, you're just not going to get top dollar for it anymore.
Well, I just did a flip up in Bear in Sugarloaf, and it took the tile guy 3 weeks longer than it should have, and so it pushed the whole job back, and so we didn't hit until the end of June, July. That's when everything started shifting.
Yeah.
And so from a projection to when we sold it, I had to take a $50,000 haircut of what my profit should have been.
Ugh.
And so
it's crazy.
a lot of people are seeing that happen right now, so you have to be really careful with your numbers.
Dude, I missed a house. I listed a house in Wildemar, and we literally missed it for 2 weeks. We literally like a house sold just like ours for that price, and 2 weeks later we went on the market. Done. Rates like it was like right after Easter, rates went up, and then oh my god, like literally I was like,
it was overnight. Yeah,
overnight. Like it was like a wall. Like it just hit. I think that is one thing. Like I kind of knew a slowdown was going to happen this year, but I was not expecting the amount of like just stoppage.
Yeah, it was almost kind of reminded me of COVID.
Yes.
And everything like was falling off escrow for like 3-4 weeks, and then like it died, and then all of a sudden, of course, picked back up and went crazy. But it was like that quick.
It was like instant.
You were at Disneyland one day, and the next day you're locked in your house.
Dude, I could have bought a house literally for like $365 down the street from here, and I like kind of was the same way. I was like, and that's the so funny thing. I want everyone to realize I made a video right when COVID hit that the market was going to crash. Totally wrong, and because I didn't think the government was going to bail anyone out. Honestly, I thought everything was going to go to shit.
Yeah. And
then the other thing was like I could have bought a house, but then I was like, how long is this going to last? Like, are we going to have another shutdown? And I was like, is this really smart to spend $40,000? Like, I was like, and like the house wasn't what I wanted, but I was like, and I should have done it.
I wish I would have bought 2 or 3 houses at that time, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like one of those things where, and also I think what's really hurting us right now is I think a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines thinking that 08, 09, and 2010 are going to happen again. And it's like, dude, it's just not. I just don't see prices getting down to $95,000 like in Riverside.
Well, that and it's a whole different time. This time around,
everything's different.
All the lending laws were changed because of that. So we have people now that most of them can actually qualify for a loan, should be qualifying for a loan. You don't have a guy at McDonald's flipping burgers qualifying for a $2 million house because he says he makes X, Y, and Z on the paper. And then now, even though we have dipped, like in Bear, we've dipped about 5-6% this year. I don't know what you guys are at down here in Riverside.
I think we're at 6.5%. Right. But we just went up this month. I haven't ran numbers for that yet.
So look at that. That's okay. We'll say 7% to be safe. Okay.
Yeah.
We still went up 30% in Big Bear over the last 3 years.
For
so
sure.
you're still, if you bought in that time frame, you still have 10 to 25% equity in your home more than when you.
The hard part is like it's so crazy. Like right now with some sellers, it's like, dude, you're sitting on $200,000 equity you bought 3 years ago. Like, be happy for what you can get and just move on from it. Like, let the greed and it's hard because I think the issue that a lot of people don't understand when they get into real estate is like, when you're dealing with someone it's their biggest asset ever.
Right.
And they don't have any other investments. It's like, this is like them winning the lotto. Like, I got to get as much as I can possible out of this. And sometimes it's like, you got to step back and be like, okay, well, yes, I can't get 150 of equity out, but I can get 115. I don't know. It's crazy for me. Like, it's just hard because I'm a logical number guy. So for me, it's like, oh, cool, I made 100. My rate of return was this. Like, that's how I look at things.
It's like that saying, you're going to step over $1 to pick up a penny.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so, like you said, you have people that's their biggest investment, but then they're also emotionally like attached to the house.
Attached to it.
It's like, oh no, I know, like if I'm looking at it logically, the house, I have $100,000 in it, but no, it has this little walkway, so it's worth 150 more than it should. Like, no, that does not.
Literally, it has nothing to do with that. It's crazy, man. I never thought. Did you expect real estate to be what it's like before you got in, like as a realtor?
I honestly didn't expect it to be what it is now, no, because everyone watches those TV shows and you do this and that. And then like the big perception is, oh, I'll work 10 hours a week and make $1 million, you know, and that's not the case at all.
Dude, we talked about it before the podcast. Real estate's also very weird because it's like, especially when you get in certain rooms, not everyone obviously, but like it's weird. It's like you have agents that do nothing.
Right.
And that's like the norm. And the best, I remember when I first started, like I did like 25 deals my first year, and I was the number one agent in that office.
Yeah.
And it was like a small office in Riverside. Out of like 20 agents, I was number one. And then now we work for, you know, EXP, and we're in fast food movement, and it's like, oh, well, if you're not doing, you know, $350 million a year, you're not really anything. And it's like so crazy how it's like you can be in the same career path, same career technically, but it's like one room you're like, bro, crushing it, you did 7 deals this year. Another room you're like, oh, you only did 50? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, because like in Big Bear, I average about 30 to 40 a year, and I flip 2 or 3 homes a year, and I was like, oh, I'm killing it, you know. And then I get like this group we're a part of, and oh yeah, like we did 30 this month, and I was like, oh, I'm nothing.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. It's like sometimes I want to speak up, and I'm like, my numbers are not back up what I want to say right now. So it's like if anyone runs my numbers right now, and it's like, and then you go to like transition mode. Like I feel like that's where I'm at right now. It's like a transition to like was like grinding, working with like residential people. Now, you know, straight to development, where it's like same thing. It's like big projects. It's like almost like I feel like people that sell like $20 million properties. It's like you might only sell 4 a year, but it's like huge when you sell them. Same thing with developing.
How did you like going from primarily just single family, like primary homes, to residential development?
It's really hard. It's hard because like they're bigger and there's more delays and there's always pushbacks and you have way more or less control. Like you weren't in the room when we were talking today, but it's like another project, the gas company says like, well, you're 3 months out. Okay, cool. So the houses are going to be done in January, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything until what time? And what people also don't realize, like right now we have a one-off where we have no power. People walk in, they want power. Even though I'm like, hey, power's coming. They're like, well, there's no power in here. Like, I don't want to show this house.
That's true. I've had flips and stuff where I've had it all gutted. Not even done though. But I've had it where it's like the layouts are done and like the drywall's going in. And people are like, I want to come and see it now. And I'm like, okay, I'll show it to you, but you're not going to understand what you're looking at. And they come in, they look at it, and they're like, I don't want this house. I'm like, well, yeah, you can't see it yet.
It's so hard. It is crazy if you go from framing to drywall. Even like today, like those houses, the 2 models that you walk today, those houses will be done in, that's technically 11 days, but I think it's going to be more like 20 days. 20 days. Those 2 houses will be completely different because they're going to be clean. They're going to be touched up. Everything's going to be in place. It's even hard for me sometimes to picture it where I'm like, how is this going to look when this is done?
They can't see past it.
Yeah.
You know, and like you were saying too, there's so many moving parts where anything can screw up your timeline.
Anything.
Like we're building that house in Bear right now, that new build, and the concrete was just pushed back 2 weeks. If it wasn't for that, I'd have a whole first floor in right now. We just poured the slab today, and I had no control over that.
You have zero control.
If they don't bring you concrete, you can't keep moving.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing.
And there's never a perfect time to have a project. Like like every small issue you have in in a normal scenario, like take COVID, right? Like yes, we sold those houses very quickly for a lot of money, and we've probably lost a lot of money because like things were going up so fast. Like we should have, anyways. We still did well off of it, but like. We didn't have fencing. We were closing houses without fences because fencing was on back order and we couldn't. Or we didn't have appliances.
Some of the stoves, you're having to like just get the appraisal done. You can't get that done. You have no stove. You know?
We had stove. We didn't have anything. So it's like, okay, so the small issue that you're trying to do remodeling your house, times that by 16.
Yeah.
Like every issue that you have, we have the same issue, but times bigger.
Yeah.
And then that bigger comes to, even though it's not my job is to sell them. It also affects me because now I'm having to call people and be like, hey, I know we said we're closing next month, but we're not. And because of interest rates and locks and this, and it's like there's a lot of moving parts where it's very nerve-wracking and timing and emotional. And so it's cool and not at the same time. You definitely don't get that quick turn and burn, make 15 grand on a house. But it's cool to say that I do it. And I mean, I'm kind of an egotistical guy, to be honest. I think we all are, for the most part, to be successful. Like even this office on Main Street. The only reason I did it because it was on Main Street. That's the whole reason.
They come by.
It was just that where it was like, I want to be on Main Street. I want to say I'm here. I want to face the mission in. I want to be in the heart. I want to have whatever. Because at the time, I was 30 and 18 months into the industry, and I thought this is what I need to get on a level of to build that confidence. Same thing like we were talking about this podcast room. It was like I didn't have the confidence to invite people on the podcast because the room sucked. Now that I feel like the room's better and the lighting's better and the mics are better, everything's better. It's like, oh, okay, well, what do you mean you don't want to be on my podcast?
Yeah.
Jerk. So I think it's just hard. You know what I mean? I don't know about you. Do you compare yourself a lot to other agents or no?
I think if you don't, then you shouldn't be in the business because then you're not trying to push yourself. I think that's with anything though. Yeah. Whatever you do, if you're not constantly comparing yourself to the top, then you're losing your motivation. Do you ever,
the hard part about us is the top is so big. Do you then shoot lower or do you still sit at the top? Like, I assume Dan and Kyle are the top two teams in Fast Forward.
Kenny Fast.
Kenny Fast, yes.
Yeah.
Kenny Fast is what, $1 billion? No.
I think he is.
Billion.
I think he's around there, yeah.
Right. Do you compare to them or do you look for lower? So is it like Colton or is it like Danny or is it like, obviously not me because you beat me. But
well, not this year or last year.
Yeah.
I like to do it in tiers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I set my goal. Okay, like that's where I want to get one day. Sure. Do I want to do 300 million? Sure, no big deal.
Do you?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not just set that bar high?
Interesting.
But I know it takes steps to get there, and so I'm like, okay, cool. Who are the people that are doing 50 million? Who are the people doing 100 transactions? Okay, that's where they're at. That's where they're doing. Let's get there, and then I'll see how long it takes me to get to the next one.
The hard part, I think, what people don't get too is like, Kyle always says, or maybe Dan says, I know Kyle does. He always says like, don't compare my chapter 20 to your chapter 1. And what I'm starting to learn is even if you gave me chapter 20, I wouldn't even know how to handle chapter 20. Yeah. Anyway, I would like when I went to Dan's office and they were saying all this stuff and I was like, I have no idea what any of this does mean because like I'm not running a 55 agent team with 20 something, I think 12 to 20 employees, like all this stuff I don't know. So even if you're like, okay, here, do it. Here it is.
Here's the whole playbook.
Here's the playbook. I'd be like, well, I don't even know what what does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
It's like giving blueprints to someone that doesn't know how to read blueprints. You gotta take your time, learn, and go through it.
That happens to me all the time at the projects. I'm like they're like on the table. And I'm just like looking. I'm like, I think I know where that. And then I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, that's where it falls off. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. I think for me, do you search out people that are like doing the way you want to do it, or do you try to mold yourself to those people? Does that make sense?
I think in this business, especially residential, commercial is a whole different game, but people work with who they like and they're going to work with you for being you. So I think you have to be yourself, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Agreed.
So if you have all these systems that other people are doing, just mold them to what works for you, but don't try to like make your own. Just make it for you based on what they're doing.
So you started as a team agent, right?
I did back in 2016.
Why'd you leave?
Because I was with Compass before I came to EXP. It's KW, Compass, and EXP. And I was looking over my numbers.
Okay, we've moved the same amount of times.
3 times. And then I was looking at my numbers, and then I was sitting down. I was like, oh, I gave 180 grand to Compass that last year, to that team and to the brokerage.
Were you on a team on Compass too?
Yeah. Oh. And then I was like, I did 42 deals, I think, that year, something like that. And 38 of them were my own that I generated. So I was like... Yeah. Okay, and then I was talking to some people, and they're like, you could have bought a Lambo with that or something. And I'm like, or I could have bought a house with it, or a duplex back in Ohio back then. And so I'm just like, okay, where can I bring down my, expenses I'm giving out and then just reinvent it into my own company?
I don't understand. It is crazy. Is like, I think it's like the middle place, right? Like I know people are like, oh, well, I give my broker 50 grand a year, and I'm like, what? Like, what do you get from them? Like, especially like Keller or Century 21 or places like that. And I'm like, why are you giving that much money up? It makes no sense to me.
I think for me, when I first started, it was the best decision to join because I joined a top producing team,
especially up in Bear. I feel like Bear's kind of hard to tap into.
It's hard, and also, it's so funny. You take your test, and what you learn before you get your license, like. You don't use any of it, and so not knowing anything, I don't know where you go, but any brokerage I've been to, when you first get there, like, cool, here's a book, read it, start calling people.
No, I see. I got lucky. I did a mastermind. I did a 90-day boot camp before I got my real estate license, and that truly set me off.
Set you up.
Yeah, like I got it taught me how to do this and follow up and I should have actually followed it better.
Yeah. No, that's this thing. Like most people I've talked to when they become an agent, they don't know what to do.
I think we all don't.
Yeah. And so when I joined that team, they were giving me leads and they're showing me how to cultivate them, how to close deals and do contracts. And then it's just like, I'm still really, thankful to them every time I run into them. Like, hey, you guys got me to where I'm at now.
I think the hard part is like, when's that baseline? And then it's really hard because obviously you're someone who can manage builds, so you're obviously very independent.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be so front loaded with, in my opinion, with someone who, when you're on a team. It's like I have a buddy of mine who lives at the beach, and he's like, "Hey, I'd love for you to come work for me." And I'm like, "Can you handle someone? Yes, do way more deals than I do. You know, you have established yourself, but can you handle another person that has an opinion or has sense of where the direction should go? Or
that was like,
can you handle having someone that you might know that I'm sitting in a meeting being like, that's no." Like we ain't doing, like I ain't doing that. Like that's not how I think it should work. Or like that's also something. Do you as a team lead be able to fall in line? And not everyone can. I don't think I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
Well, the hardest thing for me too was I liked to do flips on the side.
Yeah.
And so I'm, working all day, working all night, but then when you start producing at a high level, then the team leads are like, okay, well, here's more. Like, well,
yeah,
no.
They want to ride the good horse.
Yeah, and so they're like, no, you can't be doing anything on the outside. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm got into real estate to be my own boss and to be independent.
Yeah.
And so you're saying I have to be at the office X, Y, and Z hours, and I'm still putting up these numbers. Like, let me go flip a house. Let me go do this. Let me go network.
Well, the hard part is what people don't realize is that it's so hard to find a good agent. So it's
Right.
like when you find one, it's like, okay, I gotta ride this horse until his leg breaks.
It's surprising to me how many agents just don't know anything about houses.
Like how to build them or
Anything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
repairs, like materials that are in the house. Like they can't even tell like the kind of countertop it has or the flooring or.
I'm offended right now. I have no idea. My sales point is like I know economics.
Yeah.
I'm a very like numbers guy, charts, like especially with developers.
Right.
I have to know like what is going on in the market, where I think it's going, like because they know all that stuff. For me, that's why maybe I've doubled down on economic stuff because it's like they'll build. I need to know numbers.
Well, you have to project out to 90 to 120 days where you think you're going to be at.
Exactly.
Best in case worst scenario.
Or
right?
we're going to buy a plot of land. Where do we think it's going to be in a year?
Exactly.
And can we make money off of it? I mean, like even like today, we got a call for 14 houses, and then like we're looking at it and we're like, I don't know, like can we do this? Does it make sense? Does the financials make sense? Like it's, I mean, when you're dealing with $6 to $10 million on the table, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different world. You know what I mean? But I think you almost get numb to it. Like where I think we're all kind of.
It's just a number after a while. If you're not,
Number now. So.
Until you walk it, and then once you walk it, you're like, okay, now you sell these houses going up. Okay, I better get my shit together.
Well, the worst part about it is like, honestly, it's also like finally. Like I've been walking that lot for literally 4 years now, and now it's like, okay, we're finally building on it. It's like I've been waiting 4 years to get a model.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
See, I think too people don't realize is how much work you put into it before.
When you don't make a dime.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, it must be nice to do that. But you're like, I put 3-4 years into this before I even got to that.
And the thing that people also don't get is like, I'm very involved. Like I look at floor plans. Hey, this wouldn't work. This doesn't work. This is what we should do. And people go like, why do you do that? It's like the more value I can bring to the table, the more valuable I am if I leave. Like I want to bring as much value as possible. I want to be going back to what we were talking at lunch. Like I want to be part of their team. I want, and I talk to my developers that way. I'm like, hey, I'm part of your team. We're a team. This is what we do. Things aren't going great now. We're a team. We're gonna figure this out as a team. Like that's how I really push it. It's like you are not alone in this. We are doing this together. You're gonna win together. I'm gonna win together. We lose together.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna figure this out. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that it's like that. It's like, okay, well, we're going to fight. Like, we got to fight right now.
Well, then once a developer finds an agent they're comfortable with too, they're not going to want to try to replicate that with
Well, the hard
else.
part is, like, most aren't that good.
Yeah.
And most don't have the experience to know what it goes with, and they also don't realize, like, how much work is getting into it. Just like I could never build a house, in my opinion. Like, I could never do what you do. I'd have no idea where to start.
Right.
Like, when people hit me up, and I'm like, when people hit me up, and they're like, oh, dude, I want to build a house. I'm like, okay, call someone else. I have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I try to push people off of it because I know how hard it is. I'm like, I mean, I've seen, how many houses have I seen now? I've seen 50 be built. I assume one is as hard. One is as much work as 50 at some point. even for us, like after the first one gets up, then it's kind of slowly but surely we go from there.
Well, this is because I do it all the time too, and I still run into issues and stuff we're trying to fix. And like the other day, we just realized something that the mason messed up on that screwed up the whole layout of the entire next level that we had to fix the day of the concrete pour.
Wow.
Okay. And then we have experience. We do this every day. And so you have a lot of homeowners that are going to be like, oh, I'll be my own GC. I'll oversee all the subs. Half of them won't even get through plan check.
Well, the subs, and the thing is too, is like you got to have good subs, dude.
That's huge.
Like there's so many bad people out there
That's
that
huge.
just don't show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially in the mountains. The mountains are the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's on mountain time. And so they say they'll be there at 12. You're lucky if they're there at 2. That's just the way it works up there.
Do you guys slow down a lot when it snows?
From the sales side or the building side? Building side, yes, if it's snowing, of course.
Yeah.
Sales side, it does depend on the agent. So a lot of agents kind of take that off, from Thanksgiving to New Year's. Mm-hmm. We still keep calling, doing our thing, trying to get houses sold and get buyers up there. Because if you get a buyer walking through the snow up to their ankles,
they're serious.
They're serious buyers. They want it.
That's what I'm telling every agent right now. It's like, you should be working as many open houses as possible. And they're like, why? I go, if someone's walking a house right now, they're a neighbor, or they're serious.
Exactly.
They're one or the other. No one's looky-looing right now.
It's a great time to take a market share because agents are working hard right now.
Yeah, I love work. I can't wait for this. I love it. I love it. Like I told an agent that it comes to my office, and she's like, "Oh, well, you've been fortunate. You've been an agent for 7 years. Like you built up some stuff." So that's not why I'm gonna get through this. She's like, "Why?" I go, I was like, "Try here."
Yeah.
She's like, "What do you?" I go, "Work an open house 6 weekends in a row, and no one shows up." And nothing's happening. You have no escrows. Can you show up every day with no escrows?
Yeah.
I can show up with no escrows. I've done it many times.
Yeah.
I said the hard part is all these agents that got in the last two and a half years have never gone to the point where you have no escrows for a month.
Yeah.
And no one's calling your listings. You know what I mean? Because we've gone through this before. Fourth quarter of 2018, obviously not as long as this has happened, but I took on my first development that year, October, and rates shot up to like 4.5.
Yeah.
And it was like crickets. They sold 8 houses before me, and I took the project halfway over. And he's like, I didn't sell a house. I was there every weekend for 8 weekends in a row. Houses? Every weekend.
The model house or what?
Yep, model.
Yeah.
Never. I didn't sell one for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I was there every weekend, putting out signs. Like I was like, I've done this many times.
Well, it's constant. Like you got to do is just like be consistent in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But like I've already talked to a handful of lenders and agents that have already got out because they've only been in for 2 years. They're like, oh, everything's going to shit. We're getting out. Dude, am I allowed to cuss on this? I don't even know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay. I cuss all the time.
Right.
You're right.
But everything's going to crap.
I always joke. I always go, no one listens anyways.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Mom. Other than you, appreciate you. I don't even think my mom watches this. My girlfriend does. I know that.
There you go.
She definitely watches.
She'll critique you later.
Yeah, she'd be like, you didn't mention me in this one. That's why every time I'm talking, especially she's probably not listening to this many, but like anytime there's like I'm doing one with a woman, I always go, yeah. So my girlfriend and me live together.
Cover it. Yeah.
So my girlfriend and me live together. And we have 3 kids together. Mm-hmm. So what? That's how I open every podcast like that. Yeah. But
I have a picture of her right here.
Yeah. Like oh my love's calling me. I gotta go. No, but it's exciting, dude. Like I mean. I've really enjoyed this downtime, to be honest. It's allowed us to work on things that we just didn't have time for the last 2 years. And I have to like remind myself that. It's like I've gotten more done in the actual company in the last 3 or 4 months than I have in the last 4 years.
I don't want to say we got lazy in the last few years, but we took it for granted.
Yeah.
And so we weren't doing the things we need to do every day. Like we were talking about earlier, like time blocking our schedule out to a T every day. We weren't doing that because we're like, oh no, we'll get an escrow this week.
Yeah.
Without having to really be structured. Now it's like, no, you need to wake up. You need to do your content, do your videos, do your training.
Yeah.
Learn your stuff.
Yeah.
And then do your calls. What you've got to do every day.
Well, even like follow up now. Like we didn't have to follow up on a listing. We put in escrow the first day. So now it's like, dude, like it is crazy how many houses I show and not one agent will call me.
Right.
I won't get one. I went out. I drove and then the other thing too. I drove all the way out to Oxnard. Showed 10 houses in Oxnard. That's people. I drove 2.5 hours one way to show 10 houses in Oxnard because the price point was 1.8 million and higher. Not one agent called me on feedback.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
I showed 1.8 million and higher, and not one agent called me back asking more of that.
Have you been trying to get feedback on your listings?
Oh, dude, automated system. Automated.
And you're getting a lot of feedback that way?
Yeah, because you know why? I bombard you.
Yeah.
And it's all automated, so I don't even care. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I literally put you to hit start, and then it goes until you respond.
Yeah.
So when we take on a listing, we just put in our auto drip. So we literally create a drip system to agents, just like you would a buyer lead.
Right.
And then you show and showing time, it automatically goes in there. And then right after that, you get hit with a text, email.
Until someone, okay, here, stop bothering me.
Yeah, until I get feedback.
Yeah. No, it's cute.
And then like, and then if they say, oh, my buyer's not interested, then it's another feedback. And then it's another drip system. It is like, well, can you please give me feedback whether they're not interested? Is there something the seller can do to get this deal together? Can we give a credit? Can we do this? Can we do that? Like, and then we bombard them with
until they get another answer.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like for me, it's like, I think it's for anything. It's like, I hate I don't know. Like for me, it's like, I want to go to if I think a house is overpriced or there's something wrong with it, I want another agent to tell me so I can. Because that's the other thing I've learned. I do now, and I've always done this actually in the last 3 years, is I don't ever tell my client what an agent tells me, or I just screenshot and share it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The reason why I do that is because when it comes as an agent, what people don't process as an agent, you are the face of all good and bad news. You are the face of it. If it's bad, they think it's your fault. If it's good, they also think it's because of you. And it seems like bad's always worse than good for some reason.
That's why you got to deliver the bad news in a good news sandwich.
Yeah.
You go good news on the top.
Yeah.
Sprinkle the bad news in, then follow up with some good news after.
The sad part is sometimes only bad news. So that's why I just now screenshot and I just share.
Yeah.
I go, hey, this is what this agent told me, and I just share it. Because, like, you know, now it's that agent telling that person, not
it's not you attacking them.
Me attacking. It's this person attacking them.
Right.
So it's just an easier way to, like, and I have seen over time, then they don't take it personal. Like, I'm saying it.
Yeah.
They're like, F that person. And it's like, yeah, I know, I agree. So that's like, so for me, like, even making those small things. Another thing we started doing, I actually got from a builder. I went to a building conference, and it was one of these things when you go into escrow with with an escrow on a new build, because it's such a long process. They asked the person, how do you want to receive good news? Like, do you want to email, text, or phone call? And how would you like to receive bad news? Email, text, or phone call? And it's true. It's just like, okay, how does our client want to receive good and bad news? We need to custom. I never thought about that before.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start doing
maybe
that.
They want email. Maybe they want bad news in an email or text. Maybe they don't want it over the phone, so they have time to process it.
Right.
You know, I like doing that. Like, I like sending my clients a lot of videos, so it gives them the time to, like, process it, so they can make a logical decision, not an emotional decision.
Do you send your videos to, like, Bomb or something like that?
Vidyard.
Okay.
Vidyard's the greatest system I've ever done.
Why do you like that one over the other?
Bomb's feels like cheesy.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Vidyard. I can text it. It's easier. I can make a video and then drop it in there. And then obviously it's just like Bomb. Like, I can see if you watch it or how long you watch it before you open it and all that stuff. And I like that too, because then I like my client knowing people have seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, like, I hate bothering people, so I don't outbound. That's why I don't do outbound calls. I don't like bothering people. It's a personal thing for me. I hate being bothered. So for me, it's like that's why I shoot a lot of content.
So you don't
People
do a
reach
lot
out
of
to
cold
me.
calling and just
Never
dialing all
never
that
one,
all
never a day in my
long.
life.
Yeah.
Never cold called a day in my life.
It's just fun.
It's terrible. I've door knocked twice, and I hate it every morning.
Can't door knock in Big Bear. It's all second homes. All my sellers live 2-3 hours away, so I'd be walking up to
Waste
random
of time.
people, or it'd be empty house, or
I
whatever.
just think, like, for me, it's just one of those things where it's unscalable. So for me, it's like, well, I cannot scale that.
Yep.
And I believe in business is going back to what people will work with you if they like you. It's like, what personality can I get on the phone? Like, when you're calling, it's just hard sales the whole time.
Right.
For me, it's like,
you want to put that rapport first.
yeah, for me, it's just like, that's a lot. That's very taxing on you as a person, and it will wear you down unless you're just the 1% where you just do not care.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I believe my lender Taylor's that way. Like, he did collections for a lot of years.
Oh, okay.
So he just literally does not care.
Yeah.
Like, he's the guy that's like, boop, pick up.
Awesome.
Like, but it also hurts us because he's not personable at all. So some people are like, he's a jerk. And I always say, like, well, when it hits a fan, you're going to want a jerk on your side. That's how I was going to tell people. That's how I kind of push
Be
him
the
off.
good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, like, I also don't like him either, but he's good, so we deal with it. You know, sorry, Taylor, if you're watching this, because I know you're not. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, like, it's just so hard to, like, you know, there's so many ways to do it, and I think that's something that, like, I'm trying to force myself into is, like, okay, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Don't try to start, like, when I went to, no, I won't say the company. When I went to my first brokerage after the last brokerage I was at, like, they wanted me to postcard. And I tried it, and it never worked. But then I was like, oh, well, they're saying I should do it, so I should do it. And then a year later, it didn't work. And I was like, all right, like, I'm done postcarding. Like, I'm not going to do it.
That's the thing about this business. everyone does it their own way and works for them. So whatever works for you might not work for me.
Yeah.
And so you got to find like the 3 or 4 things that are your lead gen levers that are going to work for you, and you just keep doing that over and over and over, even in downtimes.
And that's the hard part. That's why the hard part is like every market's different.
Right.
Every person's different. Every male versus female is different. Age groups. It's so different. You can't copy anyone. I mean, you can pick pieces and pieces, but it's like, I can't market like a 55-year-old woman who, she might dominate my area, but I can't do that. It's just not going to work. You know,
it's all hyper local, like they say. And everyone forgets that. They're like, oh, we just go on, Real Trends and check out the whole state, the whole U.S. and get the. It's like, no, you have to see get someone local that knows your area.
That's why it's all matters. So how do you So you live in Big Bear. Your girlfriend lives in Orange County.
Yep.
Why don't you ever top in the Orange County market?
I've never lived there. I didn't grow up there. My knowledge is Big Bear based, and so it wouldn't just be fair for me to just like I want to come down here and try to sell in Riverside. I don't know Riverside. Yeah, I'd send them to you because I don't know Main Street from.
Would you do a listing down here or nothing?
No, I'd probably refer it out too. Yeah.
You wouldn't take a listing?
I don't know if it'd be doing. It just depends on who it is. If it was a friend or family or something that really wanted me to work with them, I would do that. But if it was something like that just came through,
like a general thing,
it's just like. It wouldn't be doing them good service because I'm 2 hours away.
It would be hard right now for me. Like last 2 years I took anything. Now I think it'll be tough. Like I have those Oceanside ones coming, but I know they won't only work with me.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, but I have good, because of who we work for, I have a lot of people where I could be like, my buddy Ivan has a team down in Oceanside. I might be like, hey, dude, I got these 2 things coming up. Do you want to team up with me? Even if I co-list it with him, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Well, I would still if it was a friend or something that wanted someone local, then we refer out. Sure, and I would just, keep in contact, see what's going on. But I've helped people, my friends buy in Newport, sell in Orange County because they just know me. Yeah. But it's not like I'm out there pounding the pavement trying to get deals.
I think it's just I think listings are easier. A lot of people want local listing agents, but for me, I feel like local buyers agents is almost more.
Well, especially if they're last minute. Hey, we have the afternoon off. Can we go look at stuff? Sure, I'll drive down 3 hours.
Yeah, but even street by street, it's like I don't really know. Like you said, Big Bear. Luckily, I have one client looking up there, and I went to high school, and he wants to work with me. But he knows he's a research guy, so it's he knows this street versus that street. So it's but if he was some general person, then I'm like, dude, I don't know this area at all.
Well, I just got a referral from that too because I had someone that lives in SD and their friends trying to buy in Bear or Arrowhead, and they came up once and they drove around. I guess they're asking him, "What's this neighborhood?" He's like, "I have no idea." Yeah, So they called me up please, and so I'd do the same way. Like Kyle was mentioning one of his meetings we were at, saying, hey, you just don't know. You think you're in a nice area, you go one street over, you're in the ghetto.
Exactly.
And so you're oh, it looks like it's right next to these nice houses, but then you just had your client buy in an area that they're, can't walk their dog at night.
I know. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Local buyers agents is so important. You know what I mean? Listing, you can run comps, you can kind of know things going on, but I mean, it's definitely, it's so crazy. It's when things are busy, it's so funny. When things are busy, it's easy, but when things are slower, it's like you said, I went to Oxnard, which is 2.5 hours away, but I only went there because it was the first time I ever showed this guy. He wanted to work with me, but now I'll refer him out. It's not worth me driving there. You know what I mean? Unless he's this is the house, I want to buy it. And then Oxnard's everything's nice up there. It's not like there's any hood. You know what I mean? It's not like there's any ghetto up there. It's everything's nice. So moving forward, 2023. Obviously, we're talking about our goals and traction. Yeah. What do you got on the docket for next year?
So we're talking about sales, talking about builds.
Whatever. I don't give a shit. Dude, I told you what my goal, what I think success is, and it's not even a number.
Yeah, that's true. No, so for sales, we want to get back to pushing 40, 50 deals next year. Probably in bigger numbers, that'd push us around 30 to 40 million. And then do another spec, and then do a couple flips as well.
Interesting. Anything else? Anything personal on the docket?
I always take a trip once a quarter, so I always watch my Broncos play.
Oh, you're a Broncos guy?
They're horrible.
Yeah,
I saw them 3 times this year in person, and they've lost every time.
What was I gonna say to you? I don't even watch sports. I don't know. I know Russell Wilson went to you guys, but that's about it. Is he hurt? Isn't he?
He's playing like he is.
I am the most actually it's so crazy. People we were at 50/50 Slaters maybe a month ago on a Sunday, and my girl we're eating, and my girl's like, I know nothing about football. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I was like, aren't you happy I don't watch football all day? And she's like, no, I would totally. And I'm like, no. Like, I was like, you don't know what you're getting yourself in. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I have buddies that literally starting Saturday morning.
Yeah.
They watch college football
weekend.
all day.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, football all day. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'm like, okay.
Then
like,
Monday night and then Thursday night.
Monday night, Thursday night. I don't
Yeah.
even have fantasy. I don't watch any sports. I don't care. It's weird. It's weird. Like, you stay so busy with this stuff that it's like, I don't know. This is like kind of like my sport now.
Yeah.
You know? I like playing golf. You play golf?
Not well.
No?
I got some custom clubs made recently.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
you're
we'll
a tall
taller.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Jordan Baker is a major league umpire. He's 6'6", 6'7", and he had customs. And I was on the road with him one time. I had to play out of his bag.
Yeah.
I'm like choking down, like I was choking down to the rubber, and like I was like, I got this. But it's crazy. So that's cool, man.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
And anyone in Big Bear? If you're needing someone up there, would you build outside of Big Bear, or would you build anywhere, or just Big Bear?
I don't know yet. We're slowly expanding. So like we were talking about the developments, you're saying like we'll gradually get to that point, but yeah, we're not there yet.
Dude, the hard part of developing, especially in this market, is what's crazy is who knows how long this is gonna last. We could literally, by the time we get, like, right now we're in a bad, but by the time gas gets us and everything gets to us, and like that might be 5 months from now, we might be like, all these delays actually might work out for us.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it literally might. I don't know, dude. I have no idea.
Well, lumber's finally gone down a lot, so thank God for that.
I don't think people realize how much lumber was.
Yeah, they don't.
Lumber's is cheap now, isn't it?
It's back to right around like pre-pandemic numbers, or right around there.
Honestly, I think home prices will drop down to, not all the way down to pre-pandemic numbers, because like average sale price in Riverside right then was like $465, and now we're at like $665, so we're up like $200,000. But I wouldn't be shocked if average sale price in Riverside in the next year or so, if kind of things stay where they're at, probably drop down to like close to $620. You know?
Yeah, for Bear, we usually log secondary market, so we log about 6 months behind you guys. But I see us probably being another maybe 5%, 7%.
The hard part is you guys got dominated with Airbnbs up there. Like
we did.
You guys got just smoked.
Yeah.
So many Airbnb people, because that was a cool thing to do.
It was even on our docket for our vote in Bear Lake.
Oh, really?
They were trying to get limit them, and that got shut down. So
did it?
Yeah.
It's interesting to me to see how many people maybe bought those when they couldn't really afford them,
That's a lot of our buyers.
and how much that will increase in the next year or so if people stop, if the unemployment rate goes up and people stop traveling, because like I think they'll make it through the winter season,
Right.
but then by next summer, are they going to be able to make their payments? You know what I mean?
We'll see. And that's the thing. Like right now, we only have about 280 to 290 homes on the market. Right now, we should be over 400 or 500, and it's been like that for the last few years.
We have 500 down here right now. We were at like 220 when COVID was going on.
That's crazy.
And people were, we
we're down to 80.
80
when COVID hit. Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, even if prices get back to normal, it's like, and that's how I try to tell people about the economy crashing. Like, dude, like we had like 5,000 houses on the market when the market crashed in 2008.
Yeah.
Like, we're at like 500. We're at 1/10
Nowhere
of what
near
we're
it,
at. Not
yeah.
even close. Inland Empire, we had like 36,000, 18,000.
Even if you double it now, you're still not going to be anywhere near where you were.
Honestly, like I said, I think the only thing that's slowing stuff down is the shitty houses. The nice houses will still sell.
Yeah.
The shitty
and
hust suck.
if it's marketed right, priced right, and
And
shown
shown
right,
right.
and yeah.
You're going to start going after expireds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just started doing that again because we're starting to see more of that. But they're not as heavy at the mountains as they are down here. You probably get, 10, 20 a week down here?
Yeah, we get like 10 a week.
We get like one or two.
I track every Monday. I track active, pending, closed for the last week, expired for the last week. And then I break it down per price point, per 100,000, what's on the market and what's pending. And I break it down by zip code every Monday.
Yeah.
So I know exactly where the numbers are at.
And then you post a video about that every week?
And I post a video about it. No, actually, no. That I post a template.
Okay.
A template will go out on Instagram. Kind of switch it up so people can read it really fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every single week.
Cool. How about you? What are your goals for next year?
I have no idea.
Just
I'd like to be making I'd like to be making 10,000 a month in media clients. So I'd like to make 120,000 a year next year on media, just media clients. I'd like to sell all my new builds. So that would be roughly, that project's anywhere between $150 to $400,000 commissions ish, whatever that is. I'd like to sell. So those are 30 houses. I'd like to sell 50 houses next year, just based on whatever. I'd like to have a showing partner on staff. I'd like to be in the movement of building my warehouse so I can have everything under one roof. Gym, I'm literally even going to have a gym in there.
Oh, cool.
I like training in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And I'd like my trainer just to come to the gym and train me at my office.
All in house.
I want everything in house. I want to go there every day and never leave.
There you go. Put a bed cot in the corner.
There's going to be a shower and a bathroom for sure. I want to run a marathon.
Okay.
I think I might try to run the June 6th, rock and roll down in San Diego.
Okay.
I was a all league cross country in high school, and I never ran a marathon, and I kind of regret it. So I'm 35 this year.
Do it now.
I like to start a coaching program. I like to team up with some guys and build a coaching program. It's just a lot of things, man. I get bored very easily.
Yeah.
I like having a hand in a lot of things, and I'd like to be way more structured, like, follow schedule and
time block everything.
And things like that.
Start cold calling.
No, never, dude. Listen, man. I always say this: Apple has never cold called you, and they're doing just fine.
That's right.
Nike has never cold called you; they're doing just fine. Do I lose money not cold calling? 100% I do. But what is the balance of money and happiness?
Mm-hmm.
I'm extremely happy. So for me, it's like I'm extremely happy, and I enjoy what I do every single day. I love doing this every single day. So for me, it's like, why add something to the mix that I personally know that I will not do? And then what? Then I get mad at myself, like, you didn't cold call this week. It's like, do you coach? Sorry, I know we're jumping around, but do you coach?
Sports or real estate?
No, real estate coaching.
No. I just cracked her up on my team. I've thought about it, but there's just so many people getting into that space.
Yeah, who would you go with? I think I would want to go with, I really like John Sheplack.
Okay, yeah.
I really like John. You know why? Because I love John.
He's no BS.
You know what I love about John? John sits there and tells you, like, hey, you already know everything. I love that. I'm not going to come up with some genius thing to triple your business. You already know everything you need to know. My job is just to see the blind spots that you can't see.
And hold you accountable.
I'm the one looking on the outside, looking in.
Yeah.
I can point out those things. I am not going to magically change anything. And he's like real. He's like, if someone's not motivated at a company before you, they're not going to be motivated in your company.
That's
you
true.
are not that great. So if they did no business before, they're going to do no business now.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that team leads get too arrogant and cocky. They think like, oh, I could convert. And that's a mistake I've made. Like, oh, I could chain this. Like, I will not hire someone who doesn't do 12 deals a year.
Yeah.
If you're coming in here, I cannot take you from 0 to 12. I can take you from 12 to 24 based on the tools we have, but 0 to 12, especially if you've been an agent for a while, no.
If you're not doing it, yeah.
If you gotta know how to work. You know what I mean? If you haven't put the work in, you won't know. The hard part is the agents that do like 15 deals a year think they have it all figured out. That is the one thing I've learned more. Like,
that work ethic in our
well, you've done 40 deals a year. I've done 40 deals a year, and it's like we are the people that are like, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem asking, no problem helping. Like, I'm gonna probably go down to, I think it's next week, right? Week after that. I'll probably go down to Kyle's office, drive 90 minutes around, 90 minutes there, 90 minutes back.
Yeah.
Go and sit on their mastermind, see if they say anything. Because every time I go, I get something new.
Like today.
Yeah, I got a lot from you.
Yeah. No, the Monday Mastermind too.
Oh yeah, the Monday Mastermind.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Reels coming later. Even like that, where it was like, things like that, where it's like, what was the thing that I really got from there today? It was like, it's in my notes, but it was kind of like figure out like go after people that have been expired for 2 weeks, or I got I'll tell you, I got a lot. I'll make sure I got a lot with Alex and Mosey today. Oh my God, he did a podcast with this guy named Brandon, who's a real estate coach on Instagram, who I actually really like. He puts a lot of good nuggets out there. But like Mosey said, he was just like, Mosey's like, listen, he's like, too many people who sell, they like tell you the journey. Just tell them the end.
Yeah.
It's like just, and then he goes, when you really want to sell, admit your weaknesses first. Say like, yes, we don't do X, Y, and Z, but we do this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, give up first to get more later. Don't try to say you're great at everything.
It's almost like that Eminem movie 8 Mile. How he did that on that rap
Oh
battle.
yeah, exactly. Like just
throw all the bad out front.
Yeah,
like
throw all the bad out. No one's gonna
Yeah.
get you. It's like you're not perfect. Your product's not perfect. Like he even says, like our product's gonna take longer. Like even like he was talking about recruiting. He's like, yes, you will make more money working for that other company in the first 60 days, but I promise you, in the next 90 to 120 days, you'll make more money working with us.
Yeah.
You know. So, anyways, all right. Time to go.
Awesome.
I got to work.
Yeah.
You got to get up the mountain.
That sounds good.
Appreciate it, guys. Remember, if you're in Big Bear, hit my guy up. Adrian put his stuff in below. And then 2, if you have any questions about building, spec houses, permitting, this, that, and the other, like, honestly, guys, building a custom house is very, very difficult. I won't even try to even approach it. I stay in my lane. But if you have questions about building, hit them up. If you're an agent in the Big Bear, like you take Lake Arrow too?
Crest Line up to Big Bear.
Crest Line to Big Bear.
Lake Arrowhead, all of it. Yeah.
You're looking for an agent who you can team up with at work, know what you're doing. Because think about it, he builds them, you can sell them or open houses, things like that. Realize this, guys, like you can't do this job on your own. Literally, people who produce are always looking for help. And then the people who don't produce are always thinking they can do this on their own. Don't you kind of see the outcome of that?
100%.
You cannot do this on your own. And if you want to brag saying, I don't have a coach, I don't work for anyone, I don't need an assistant, you probably don't do that much business. Or you're very miserable. One or the other. So
Or both.
Or both. Thanks for stopping by today, man. I hope you had fun today. I hope you learned a lot. I learned a lot from you. And until next time, guys, peace.